Alright, so here we are, week 3, qualifying lap. The theme of this season for me is finding ways to mess up my own race, and here's another example. So qualifying lap, if you look down at the fuel at the bottom right hand of the screen, we got 31 liters of fuel for our last qualifying lap. Meaning I carried too much fuel. I clicked on the incorrect setup, and yeah, just I'm carrying too much fuel, but maybe it's not all bad because we got a really damp track here, so maybe a little bit of weight is actually helping me find grip. But this is the last lap where you can see a dry line is forming. So this is going to be our fastest lap of qualifying. I make a mistake there and I go red in the delta, so this could have been even faster, right, if I take out that big mistake through that turn there. But this is just one of those races that's filled with a lot of what ifs, and the first what if being, what if I didn't put on the wrong setup with so much fuel? But nothing you can do about it, right? So we're coming through the final sector and we are up on our delta, you can see there, and we really nail these last couple turns, really nail the chicane. That delta is going super green now, up half a second almost, and yep, up half a second there, and we are across the line into third place, P3. So we qualified third place. We're not on the front row, but we are pretty close, and that's with a big load of fuel. So I can't imagine what my quali time would have been if we had the appropriate amount of fuel, but you know, it is what it is. What can you do? So here we are at the start of the race. It's wet. I think the optimum tires, because the track is damp but it is raining, so the optimum tires might have been slicks and then changing your tires, but most everybody started on wets, and Skunko loses in front. I slam on the brakes, and then of course I get hit from behind, so take some damage right off the bat. Kind of lose my focus here. Now I'm already down a few positions. Third place finish, and now we've got damage and we are a little bit behind, and then we make our own silly mistake in a second, because here through this turn I go off the racing line to try to stay safe and stay wide, which I didn't need to do. There was nobody inside of me, and yep, do a nice little 180. And in one lap, we go from third place all the way down to 19th. This has just been the story of my season. At Laguna Seca, I started, I think, kind of 5th or something like that, and missed a braking zone and crashed and went to last place on the first lap at Paul Ricard. I got hit on the first lap and dropped all the way down into last place. So this is the third time in 3 weeks that I have gone from fairly high up to dead last in just a few corners. So now we are 5 minutes into the race. We've passed some people through the pits. We've made a little bit of progress, and we are behind this BMW trying to make room, but we see some cars left and right that have spun out. So I am starting to realize at this point, 5 minutes into the race, that I'm not the only person who's going to make a mistake in the race. There's going to be a lot of people, you know, making some mistakes some unforced errors, and we're going to be able to get a decent finish if we can just get our focus back. If we can just keep our minds together. And the BMW there goes wide, and I think gave me the position a little bit. Also notice on the tires there, the track's still not fully wet at this point. So the left tires are heating up. I'm losing grip. I missed the braking zone, and I'm off the track there. And Skunkle, who we saw mess up a little bit earlier, now passes me and gains that position. So I am in 9th, all the way into the top 10 already. So we can definitely make up ground, and we can definitely, you know, have a decent finish. But Skunkle, Team Lime, Squad is in front. Trying to find where that traction is, trying to find which curbs are safe to take as well. Because some curbs, especially like here, if you can get your car straight, then you can go over the curbs. But a lot of the exit curbs, as you touch them like here, you lose a little bit of grip and you don't get quite the speed through the turn. I missed the braking zone, but so does Skunkle there. Get onto that really slick stuff out there and get a bad run out. But just trying to find a rhythm, trying to stay focused, trying to avoid any silly mistakes. And look who it is, Thomas. Thomas is one of those people who I always seem to find myself racing around in these league races. Maybe we are just at a similar pace, but it seems that each and every week we are in the same area, in the same battles. So Thomas and Skunkle are going to have some battles here that are kind of fun to watch from where I am, because I get to watch them race it out in the rain, and they do a great job of avoiding contact, leaving enough space. You have to be extra careful in the rain, and they you know, did a perfect job of being respectful and giving each other enough space. So kind of fun to watch. However, being behind them, definitely feeling like it's not really a battle that I want to get in at this moment. Don't want to have a 3-car battle, and we have to take a mandatory pit anyway. So I think at this point in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, you know what, I'm going to give them all the space they need and let them battle it out, and I'm going to take my pit stop now, which also is going to allow my tires to cool off a little bit as I go slowly through the pits, and is going to allow me the chance to come out with some clean track. Alright, so here we go, and I dive into the pits. Oh, wrong turn. That's okay. In a second here, through the chicane, I'm going to dive into the pits, and I'm going to let them battle it out, let them slow each other down, let them have some fun. So there I go into the pits. And after coming out of the pits, after running a few more laps out of the pits, and just to be clear, we do have a mandatory refuel, but no mandatory tire change. So after taking my pit stop, we have caught back up to a little bit of traffic with Real Agent in that beautiful lime green GTR. And then I believe that was Salty on the right, didn't have any force feedback, so he was just trying to stay out of people's way. We keep having this problem with everybody with the Thrustmaster TNX keeps losing force feedback in our league races. I don't know what that's all about. This is on Xbox. Hopefully that can get sorted. So Real Agent loses traction a little bit on that inside curb, which allows the space there to make a clean pass, a safe pass. So now we're up into 7th place, and we've already taken our pit stop, and at least one person in front of us we can see still has a pit stop to take. So starting to think, you know what, we can have a decent finish. It's going to be another week of what ifs, because what if we took the right amount of fuel and we were on the front row? What if we didn't get caught up in that first lap drama? What if, you know, what if we were clean through lap 1? Where could we be finishing? But that's just the story of this season for me. My goal is going to be to spend a little bit of time practicing first laps. I'm going to put some AI in and just practice having clean first laps, clean starts to the race, because that's where it just feels like for 3 straight weeks, if you just take out the first lap of the race, I could have been finishing so much higher. But here we are behind Thomas again. And the goal here is going to be to put a little bit of pressure on Thomas, see if we can get him to make a mistake. I take too much curb there, and you can see how taking the curb in the rain, just you lose grip, and the person in front just flies ahead. So now Thomas has a little big gap in front of me. So now we got to avoid the curbs. We don't want that to happen again. So now we're just in chase mode, just trying to track him down. So this lap seems to be coming together well, staying green on the Delta, and tracking down Thomas, hopefully going to put some pressure on him. In that Aston Martin, the Aston probably handles the rain somewhat decently, being front engined, being a pretty stable car. Now we are starting to catch up at this, you know, back portion of the track. We're still not that close to Thomas, still not putting too much pressure on him. But on exit of that turn, he makes a mistake, and we are through into 6th place. So Thomas loses it, and we are into 6th place here, having already taken our pits, being in last place at the end of lap 1. 6th place feels like a good spot to be. We got AZ in front of us, Arizona Racer. He is at least a lap down. I know this probably happened because of a disconnection of some sort. Not exactly sure what happened, but I do know he is a lap down. So he's, once we get up to him, well, he's not really someone we're battling with. So I'm not going to do anything risky to get past. With it being just 7 minutes left of the 50-minute race. Just going to try to stay consistent behind him. Maybe he has damage. I can't remember exactly why, but he was a lap down. These rainy races just do some funny things to the standings, because sometimes the people that are consistently finishing high up all of a sudden you see them in the middle of the pack or pretty low down. But here, AZ is going to let us through. Much appreciated, considering we weren't really battling for position. And now we look ahead, and it's Old Clay Toad, who's got a decent gap on us ahead. And then come to find out at the end of the race that he spent the entire race without force feedback. So he's another person on the Thrustmaster TMX who has been having force feedback loss issues. I think there's 3 guys in our league who keep losing force feedback in our races. So we got about 2 more minutes here in the race. And I'm going to just kind of leave us to watch the last 2 minutes of the race. But next week is going to be Kyalami, which is a track that I have a lot of fun with. However, don't feel particularly fast at Kyalami. So I'm going to spend a little bit of the week trying to figure out how I can be quicker at that track. I also am going to practice against the AI with some short races, some like 5-10 minute races. That way I can keep practicing my lap 1. I got to keep practicing my race starts, because if you take out the first lap of the races the last 3 weeks and you just take the rest, I'd be doing great. But I keep ruining all of my races on the first lap, and it is painfully frustrating to start off third, to start off in a podium position, and then by the end of lap 1 to be basically in last place. Quite frustrating. So that's going to be my goal for next week. Get through lap 1 clean, and then see what can happen after that. Because once it opens up, I'm feeling confident that I can stay on pace and finish strong. This being a good example, being in 19th place at the end of lap 1 and finishing the race in 5th place. Huge shout out to Old Clay Toad though for holding me off and doing the entire race with force feedback. Without force feedback is unbelievable. Hopefully we can figure out the issue with the Thrustmaster TMXs so that we don't have this continue to happen. And I'm on the Thrustmaster TX and I haven't had any issues. So just the TMX. So this is the last lap here. As you can see, time's up, but we're gonna try to just finish clean, take that 5th place finish and be happy with it. Those 50-minute races are a bit exhausting as they just seem to go on and on and on. I'm so used to the 25-minute sprint races. But like I said, next week's Kyalami, super fun track. We do our weather based on the weather in real life, and the predicted weather is 100% clear and beautiful skies in South Africa. So no rain like we had this week, which is going to be welcomed by most people, as the rain can be so tricky. But also rain races are super fun at the same time. All that unpredictability. Alright, so here we're coming around the last corner. Probably feeling like if we had another 2 laps, maybe we could have caught Clay Toad, but either way, we are across the line. Checkered flag. It says 4th up there. That's just because one of the people who already finished exited the game. In reality, we were 5th place. So 5th place is the finish. Definitely look forward to a fun race next week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.